Hi, welcome to the Salem County Art League 2020 Arts in Bloom Tour. Dig into art activity for kids. The floating triangle is going to be our project today. It's a 3D drawing, or otherwise known as an optical illusion drawing. So when we get all finished, we're going to end up with a triangle that looks like this. And then if you tilt it up just a bit and look at it, you'll see that it appears to be floating above that piece of paper. It's just really a flat piece of paper, and all we're doing is playing with the light and shading and trimming out to make it look like an actual floating triangle. Let's talk about the materials that you need. There are not too many, actually. In fact, this is one of the probably the least number of materials that you're going to need to do any project. So the first thing you have to do is to print out this form that has on it the outline of the triangle that we're going to be building. So we need this form, and then we need a pair of scissors, a pencil, a ruler, and a tissue. So with those few materials, then we're going to get started and begin to build this floating triangle. Now before we do get started, though, I do want to call your attention to this little line up at the top on your printout, because if you want to do more of this optical illusion or 3D drawing kind of thing, there is a place you can go. It's where I went to get this exercise for us. So you can go to youtube.com. I'm sure you might have been there before. Search for 3D drawings for kids, and you'll find the floating triangle in that grouping. Or you can actually go to YouTube and type in and look for floating triangle. And then if you want to see some really fancy stuff, then you can just put in the 3D drawings, and that'll give you some additional things. There'll be a little bit of overlap between the two searches. Okay, well, I think that's about all we need to talk about as far as a preliminary instruction. So now we should be able to go ahead and get started. Well, let's get started on creating our floating triangle. The first thing you need is this printout that you got from online, which has two forms on it. You only need one, but I put two there just in case you needed to start over again at some point or wanted to try it again. So, as you can see, we have to follow the guidelines here and cut this out. This part in the middle is just trash, so we'll be cutting above and below that. So let's go ahead and cut the portion out that we need. So you're cutting right along the dotted line, all the way around the forms that we need. So we can just get straight up on this side for now. And across. And then down the other side. Then we have to cut them apart. So all that squiggly mess in the middle is just trash. So we have to just cut below it on that dotted line. And above it over here. Okay. So now we have two forms. We're just going to use one, so the extra form and all the trash can go away. Don't worry that your dotted line might still show. We can trim that off later, but we want to get started doing this right away. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to take our ruler and refine our lines a little bit, because they do print out a little light from the printer, but that's intentional because I wanted to have you have the practice of actually drawing the lines in. Now you do want to stay on the line that you can see. You're just trying to darken it a little bit so you can see better what's going on. So all the way around the triangle, you're going to put in your new lines. Again, just stay with the lines that you can see, and we're just making them a little easier for us to use. And you can twist your paper all around as you need to be able to get to the part that you need. Okay, and then right below the triangle, you can see that there's a little line there. That line should not be too dark. We just want to remember where it should go. So we'll just put a little line there. Okay, as far as the dividing line here is concerned, just make sure you can see it. If you can't, then go ahead and make it a little darker, because we're going to be needing to cut along that line later. But as long as you can see it, you don't have to make it any darker if you don't need to or want to. Okay, now you might be able to see that I went a little past my line here, and I can clean that up. So we're going to be using the eraser to just clean things up every once in a while as we need to. Okay, next step is to go ahead and start to shade in the right side of the triangle. Now, I like to do it by putting my pencil on the side and rolling it around. I might have to go to the point to get that skinny area at the top. And then I can go to the side again because it's a little faster. So we're going to be filling in that whole triangle, or whole side of the triangle. Leave the other one blank. And again, if you have trouble getting into those points on that one side, then just use the tip of your pencil instead of the side. Okay, so now the forward edge of the triangle has to be a little darker than the rest. So we can right now go ahead and go over top with the point of the pencil and make this a little darker than what's there. We'll still be working on that a little bit later, but right now we just want to get a little bit of an edge to the darkness. Okay, now you can use the tip of your finger, but if you don't want to get that dirty, then you can use a tissue. And just take the tissue, put it on the edge of your finger, and just blend all your strokes together so they look nice and easy, even, I should say. Okay, and then I think I still want my forward edge to be somewhat darker. So I'm going to darken that edge again and kind of take it out to the back edge and a little bit up on the front, but always keeping that forward edge a little bit darker, not the whole thing. And then again, take your tissue or the tip of your finger. See, I can do this with the tip of my finger as well. Either way, you're just blending in your pencil marks so they look nice and smooth. And we'll keep going a little bit here. Okay. And one more time, we'll blend again. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter if you get a little bit of that smearing over here on the white, but you don't want too much because that should be where the light is hitting your triangle. And you want that to be nice and bright. So once again, the tip of your finger or your tissue. Tissue might actually do a little better job. Okay. All right, now that line that's underneath your triangle is going to be the shadow portion of your triangle. So we're going to start by putting a dot right down here. You can just see in your printout that there is a small dot there. Don't want it to be too dark. That's just going to tell us how far we should go. And now you're going to take the end of your pencil and put some lines back here to create your shadow, and you can just bring those forward. Now, when you bring them forward though, make sure that as they come toward you, they get lighter. The back line should be the darkest line. And we don't want the shadow to be too dark all over, because we want to show that it's just a shadow, and that shadow should be darker toward the back where the triangle is, or is floating above. And then later as you come to the front, and again, take your tissue and just kind of rub it in there, and this time your lines shouldn't be too perfect, except at the back. So you can take your tissue and kind of run all over it to make it look like it's just a shadow floating in there on the tabletop. Now I would go back and continue to darken this back portion a little bit. And again, as you come forward with it, you want it to be a little bit lighter. Okay, so then we blend it again, and again, use your finger or use the tissue. Either way works. Okay. All right, so we have all the basics that we need. All we have to do now is cut it out. So I'll take my scissors, and I'm going to be really careful now. I'm going to cut along that dividing line that we saw earlier. I'm going to take it right up to the edge of my triangle. Try not to cut into that line, but get it right as close as you can get it. And then we're going to trim down the other side. And now, here's the tricky part. Got to stay on that line all the way in to where the first cut was made. Give it a little tug if it doesn't want to come out, and put your scissors in there and just tiny go again, because you want that to be a really sharp cut right there. And then we do the other side. And it doesn't matter where you start cutting. Just remember when you get down to here, the bottom of your triangle, and you want it to be a nice pointy connection. So all the way into where that line comes in, and then this one across to separate it. And take that in until you meet the other cut. Just give it a little tug to see if it's loose. And it should be pretty loose, because you don't want a little piece of paper showing in there at all. So if you do get a little spot there that it shouldn't be, you'll have to trim that out very carefully. Okay, so now we have our floating triangle. Looks like it's up in the air. If you turn it a little sideways, it even looks more like it's floating. And I might even actually want to add a little darkness to the areas that should be dark back here, just to give it a little depth. And I'll shape it. And again, you don't care about how smooth the edges or how tight the edges are on the shadow. Now, on the top, you can again add a little darkness right there at the edge, so that it kind of graduates. That is the value of that. graduates back to the back, and it makes it look even more like it's floating. And if you want to stand it up, you can just go to the edges here. And fold in approximately the same amount of space. And, oops. I'm working on a slanted surface here, so I can't make it stand up for you, but at any rate, that's how you could stand it up if you want to. So, that's how you amaze your friends with your floating triangle. Just don't show them how to do it, and then they'll wonder how in the world you could pull that off. All right, well, I hope you have a good day. Enjoy some of the other Dig into Art activities that are going to be available to you on the website, and practice that floating triangle. You can become an expert in no time on this one. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Bye.